look at pictures of Viking swords and then design a cool one with a dragon on it. Just make me that sword. But that's it. It's like, just do the research.
The research behind the film, we did a ton. I don't know if I can even do it justice in how much research we did, but we wanted to get the world of Amleth's 10th century Viking world, we wanted to get that world correct.
When I first got the first draft of The Northman, I was so happy I cried. It had that, like the old Icelandic sagas, that dry, laconic tone. You don't really say more than necessary, and a lot of it is just said through looks.
Each detail in and of itself doesn't matter, but 1,000 details has a gravitational pull towards excellence. And Robert has that.
We had an authentic sword, which they brought in, and Robert was showing everybody this is like the real one. It's been dug up. It's a bit of a mess, but it would be over all them years.
Robert Eggers, I really enjoyed working with him. And a lot of that has to do with not just detail in the set, but these beautiful shots. Inside each shot has a rhythm and a story and a dynamic that's beautiful on its own.
The authenticity of the project is something that's very key to the way that Rob works, and it makes everything so much easier because, you put on your costume and then you walk into the world and you're there.
I have a small part in this movie, but his passion for every detail makes you realize that somebody cares. Somebody cares whether it's done right or done wrong.
It's a big, muscular film, much, much bigger than The Lighthouse. He still is approaching it with the same kind of detail and the same kind of care.
I try to present the Viking mind without judgment. And that's one of the cool things about the sagas. As far as the protagonists and the antagonists, there's often gray area there. They are full characters. And so I hope that even in telling this story about a culture who says you must revenge, that we can still wonder if that's the right thing to do.
What's going on, everyone? I just saw The Northman, and I am so happy to say that I had a great time watching it. I was waiting for this kind of movie. The world needed this kind of movie, god damn it.
God damn it. Yo, don't play yourself, bitch.
The Northman was easily one of my most anticipated films of the year, mainly because of this guy, Robert Eggers, whom I believe is one of the most talented directors working today, despite only having made 3 films to date. The Northman is a film about Vikings, a group I feel few people truly understand and get right when putting them on the big screen. Eggers treats the times he's writing and directing in with the utmost respect, prioritizing and maintaining a firm importance on accuracy. The Witch, being dull and dreary, for example, felt like 1630s New England. The Northman goes back further to AD 895, and it gets the tone and the feel of the times right. The story of the Northman is based on the legend of Amleth, which was the guy Shakespeare based Hamlet off of. Essentially, Amleth was a Viking prince whose uncle Fjolnir murders his father Aurvendil, I don't know how to say his name, I'm sorry, and steals his kingdom. And Amleth's life goal is then to avenge his father by killing his uncle and saving his mother. Now, I'm not a historian, but it's very evident that this group of filmmakers did their homework. The development of this film just feels right. Swedish actor Alexander Skarsgård passionately seeks to create a Viking-themed film, ultimately collaborates with the best man for the job, great at adapting folklore and mythology to film, by co-writing the screenplay with this guy, a renowned Icelandic novelist and poet. An American director makes a film featuring Norse mythology and Vikings in Ireland and ends up creating one of the best depictions of Vikings I've ever seen. Eggers is just that good of a filmmaker. Now, this film is incredibly immersive. All of Eggers' films are. This is again due to the importance he places on accuracy. In The Northman, Eggers achieves this sense of accuracy with almost every aspect of the filmmaking, from the way the characters speak to the font of the title cards. The costume and set design really stand out. The necklace Amleth wears, the magic sword he obtains from the Mound Dweller, the majestic look of the Valkyrie, the warships the Berserker Vikings ride, they all exude authenticity. And it starts early from Amleth's father returning to his kingdom from war to the final scene of Amleth and Fjolnir's epic fight. In the story, Amleth grew up to become a brute of a Viking after he fled his stolen kingdom as a young boy. Vikings were brutal, let's get that out of the way, and this film does not shy away from it. Maybe it's just that first scene of Amleth and his boys fiercely raiding that village. Fierce it was. I mean, we're talking tearing kids away from their mothers kind of savagery. Amleth grew up amongst what are known as Berserkers, a particularly vicious group of Vikings. I think having Amleth grow up a berserker warrior was necessary to show how full of rage, guilt, and anger he is. I mean, his whole life has been building to his fate of killing the man who killed his father and stole his kingdom. When he finally hears word that his uncle's kingdom has been overthrown, he steals away from his group of Vikings on a ship to Iceland, where Fjolnir is living in exile with Amleth's mother. I think Alexander Skarsgård did a fantastic job portraying this hardened brute of a human being. I don't think Amleth relished in being a berserker. It just kind of suited him because he got to spend his life working through those dreams of murder and revenge. These berserker Vikings jack themselves up to the point where they're pillaging almost on a spiritual level. They'll be hacking a guy to death while howling like a wolf. While his buddies are abducting the children and raping the women, Amleth is merely observing and not participating. It's almost like he becomes a killing machine with no real purpose. Once Amleth travels to Iceland, he meets a woman named Olga. She's like a witch or something. The two of them are slaves on Fjolnir's farm, and they begin to fall in love and work together in taking out Fjolnir's men. I gotta say though, for such a violent film, it sure is gorgeous. Seldom are intense scenes of carnage in films shot so beautifully, but the Northman accomplishes this. There's a scene where Amleth is being tortured by Fjolnir. He's strung up and the camera has him positioned in this almost poetic way. It's like in Passion of the Christ when Jesus is carrying the cross and he falls. For such a painful moment, the way that Jesus is falling is graceful. Same here. Even when Amleth is killing someone, like when Amleth killed one of Fjolnir's sons, he stabs him through the chest, but the camera pans down the floor following the sword go through the body, through the bed. Or when Amleth is bashing his head into his opponent's face and the blood smears all over his face. It's just graceful. The film also has a lot of mythological elements and symbolism that breathe life into this tale of conquering killers. The ravens that free Amleth when he's shackled by Fjolnir, those scenes of the universe and Amleth's family tree, the Valkyrie carrying Amleth to Valhalla after fulfilling his fate, Olga being able to do sorcery, and Eggers is good at that kind of stuff. He has a real flair for intercutting shots of the supernatural and mystical with shots of things that are actually happening. It's a kind of visual storytelling, and he does it so seamlessly. And you know, the predictable and easy route to take with this kind of film is to focus primarily on the onslaught of the Vikings and whatnot. But not this guy. Eggers knows that we expect all that great barbaric action, but he attempts to subvert our expectations a bit by instilling so much besides brutal savagery, like love, betrayal, pain, beauty. A large chunk of this movie is a collection of slow scenes, but these scenes really let us into these characters' minds, and so their humanity can show itself. And yet, he still manages to keep the tone consistent. And there's a lot of scenes I just didn't expect. On Fjolnir's farm, they have this game that they play against another farm. It's kind of like field hockey or rugby. It was a great scene because Amleth saves Fjolnir's son, his half-brother, but you just might not expect to see that in a Viking movie. Olga and Amleth falling in love was another thing I didn't expect. Amleth realizes that Olga will have 2 sons, but the tragedy here is that Amleth is like a prisoner to his fate, and killing Fjolnir seals his family's safety, so he has to go back. He could have lived with Olga peacefully, leaving all that shit they went through behind, but he turns back. It's emotional, and I felt it. And then of course there's the twist here that really caught me off guard. Amleth's mother revealing that Amleth's father raped her and she was like a slave taken by him, and she's the one that asked Fjolnir to kill Amleth and his father. That's really fucked up, man. I mean, she's the real villain here, more so than Fjolnir. When you think about it, the combination of Viking lore and Shakespearean influence really balances out this film. What a great twist, and Amleth is crushed, understandably. It's almost like his life was a lie, and I think that adds to why he went back for Fjolnir instead of leaving safely with Olga. And then of course there's the final fight, which is awesome. Amleth and Fjolnir are dueling it out at the base of a volcano that has erupted. They call this the Gates of Hell. The showdown was just a spectacle within this mega spectacle of a film. You really feel how heavy those swords are by the way you see Alexander Skarsgård swinging it. It's visceral, the final fight is necessary, and the shot of Amleth decapitating Fjolnir was amazing because I was like, oh, this is great. But then it slowly reveals that Amleth is also fatally wounded, and he just drops dead, and you see Olga and her twins with this bright future ahead, while Amleth is carried to the Norse version of heaven. Perfect. No words, just the swelling score and the felt presence of mythological imagery. I fucking love this movie. Everything about it was great. I'm gonna see it again. I can't wait to see it again. An absolute 10 out of 10. It's just so good, and I hope you all enjoy it as much as I do. It's going to be everything it needs to be for a Viking movie for you, I promise. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'd be more than appreciative if you did. Have a great day, and I will see you all next week. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.